today's gift count. So much enthusiasm. Look at today's gift count. So much enthusiasm.
Hello. Um,
We can do it! We can do anything!
Can you find the answer?
Tomorrow! Fury of immortal core flames consume me. Hail the new dawn! Quench the flames of blood.
hello.
Her agony! The shows! Resonate with me! Quench the flames of blood. Granted with strength. Sun tear the sky! Quench the flames of blood. Is that all? Her agony! Hail the new dawn! Interesting! Quench the flames of blood.
How many hours of sleep do you get? Like 7.
Is that all? Granted with strife. All stars burn to ash. Rock and roll lives on.
Hello.
Soaring above the lands. This is permanent.
I'm a lot more reliant on sleep than the average person, though. So, it's just that I have sleep issues.
I'm still here.
Feels
Team 2 is Asheville with Payla and RMC. No, I didn't. Guys, this is me using a support character for farming. Says it right here. Oh, all good. How long do I even have to try and build this guy? Holy shit. 2 weeks? Yeah, this is gonna be scuffed, man. Holy fuck. Still waiting for an Elation break unit so I can compensate for being Dahlia-less. Yep, that's never happening. I wish it would. Tactician, please, not right now, bro. I'm really not in the mood the last few days. I'm trying my hardest to not do anything, man. It's not that the volume's low, it's just that I'm not speaking up. Because I'm tired.
Test pair wrap, song lotus cake, guaranteed delicious.
I'm not sick. Once again, I'm just tired.
Did you hear?
Scuff build, nothing you can do on a new account. The only way... Well, it's not that it's impossible for me to speedrun this shit in a month, but I'd have to use the Jades on this account every single day and convert them into Trailblaze power if I wanted to, like, get semi-optimal builds on the characters, but it just feels bad doing that shit. Yeah, Fugue doesn't matter that much for Firefly at E0 as 0. Ruan Mei is comparable to Fugue for Firefly. It's mainly just Dahlia that matters. I don't think I'll have time to grind DU fully. Grinding DU doesn't take that long though. I get what you're saying, but like, what you want a patch to not include the pulls you get in a patch because you yourself are not gonna farm them all. Like, it doesn't change the fact that the pulls are still being added in that patch. You know what I'm saying? So you can just be fine with getting it over time you can grind it all in one patch if you really want to. I mean, nothing's stopping you. You should put all archers instead of Ashfield? No, I really don't want to do that. And once again, it wouldn't make any difference. What's capping me from speedrunning this account has nothing to do with pulls. It has to do with Trailblaze power and being able to farm weekly mats and relics and level up traces for a ton of different characters. Does not having Fugue make break Scuffed? No, Fugue is like genuinely terrible for Firefly. Like, in all honesty, Fugue should have been Nova Flared before Firefly. Once again, you can just run free rule on May instead of Fugue and it'll be comparable. Fugue only becomes good when you get like Battle Pass break Harmony cones, because she can just use them because she's in Agility, and with vertical investment. But like E0 as 0 base Fugue, it's like really bad. Fugue is much more of a Rappa buff. Like for Rappa, Fugue matters a lot more because Rappa really wants extra breaks for energy, but not for Firefly as much. What about Linkshaw? Linkshaw is also just a brick on break. It's the same thing. Linkshaw is genuinely better used as a break DPS than being a sustain. Because as a sustain, she's just kind of there. No, no one ever said Himiko is Elation.
Look at today's gift count. So much enthusiasm.
Come on in.
Well, I wouldn't say it's ideal, but yes, that's a really good team. I mean, I've been saying that for a good while now, Firefly. I've been saying that for a good while, that probably the easiest way you could have buffed Firefly in this game is just adding a break action advancer. Like, Boot Hill was able to take advantage of action advancers, but in all honesty, it's Firefly that cares the most about extra action advance. To the point where, like, some people are currently using Branya with Firefly and achieving similar clears, which is like, what? you know? Branya's main amping ability is damage bonus and crit buffing. And somehow, Branya is able to work with Firefly. And it's like, it's just the action advance. I'm gonna check if my other accounts need to do dailies. Branya buffs attack too. Yeah, but that's it. Like, the attack buffing from Branya is barely anything. It's mainly just the action advance and the base speed buff at E2, probably. A Noxa account, a Noxa account. I don't even know what to do with this account, man. It's kind of like already beat the game outside of AA. I just don't know what to farm, bro. Um, do I need a farm Cyrene? I guess I'll just farm Cyrene relics in case I get her.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles. With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Because Sparksy buffs are trash,
Above the land,
and Evanescia is likely a hyper carry.
I have it under
The
control.
only way Sparksy matters as a sub DPS is if you care about punchline generation, which Silverwolf does, because that's what her ultimate scales off of. But if you don't care about punchline generation as much as Silverwolf, Sparksy is just dead weight. It's better to run a support.
With this divine power, I reforge all things.
The best example I can give is there's a reason people don't use Evernight with Aglaia.
Mountains move, dragons rise. With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Your downfall is absolute.
Earth shatters, heaven trembles. Soaring above the lands, this is permanence. I have it under control. Watch over you and guide you on your path. Torment and doubt, farewell. Insanity. To the soul. With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Flailing beast, press the attack.
Serenity is before me. Insanity. With this divine power, I reforge all things.
Thank God Anoxa farms
Your
fast.
downfall is absolute.
To the soul.
I only care about speed and HP, right? Alright, it's just a bunch of garbage. What? Brick Knight. Huh? Oh, right. I used it on the Lycone banner. Phanon is T0.5, same tier as Firefly. I hope you guys realize that Phanon is way stronger than Firefly outside of 0 cycles. And it's not necessarily close, especially after Buff Sparkle. Phanon is like the only character where you can sincerely argue that with Cyrene, he can never die in Sustainless. So, he can go Sustainless with Cyrene for an entire fucking battle. Firefly needs to get a 0 cycle. So, something you'll see in, like, for example, Anomaly Arbitration clears, where you need significantly more investment. Firefly fucking falls off a cliff and needs way more investment than Phanon does. And it'll only get worse. Well, not anymore, because she's getting a Nova Flare, but you kind of get the point. And then Phanon will end up getting his own Nova Flare anyways. Yeah, like there's literally a 6 cost 0 cycle against current MLC Sparksicon with fucking Himiko. And people will genuinely try and argue with you that it's Firefly that's carrying Break. Cheapest non-battle pass Firefly run is also 6 cost. Yep. That's how it goes, man. Battle pass Lycone Merchant. Black screen, no text actually cooked. True. I was thinking about it more. Do I really want E1S1 Hyazine? I was thinking about the possibility of going all out on Faye. So, for example, it would be I get E2 Faye. He's currently E0S1 on this account. And I end up getting E2 Cyrene on her second rerun. The reason I want to do this is because if I get E2 Cyrene is a lot more important than it used to be, right? Because before, E2 Cyrene's value was kind of mid. There wasn't like, you know, a non-Chrysos air support that was way better at buffing than RMC. But now, because of Buff Sparkle, I'm not gonna lie, E2 Cyrene is really good again. For Phanon at least. Because now you can run E2 Faye, E2 Cyrene, Buff Sparkle, and someone else, right? Like Sari, something like that. Are Battle Pass Lycones that broken? No, but they are for the Harmony, or sorry, the Break path. The Break Lycones have a very uncommon buff for buffing break damage, which makes them incredibly valuable. Yeah, because E2 Cyrene does multiple things for Phanon. It lets you run other stronger amping supports without needing Chrysos airs to fit the ult in a 0 cycle. it allows you to get the ult significantly quicker so that you can do sustainless Phanon basically guaranteed almost every single time, unless you're going against like play AA or something, right? And you get a true damage increase on the side with E2 Siren at the exact same time of like up to 24%. Because I was thinking about it and I was like, I would love E1S1 Hyacine. I'm aware how good of an investment it is, but my mono rem team is already like fucking 10 cost. And I can give my Phanon Siren, I can run these two with like a May or something. And even though it is significantly weaker, it's more than enough to clear. You know what I'm saying? Oh, why didn't you guys tell me the screen was still black? But yeah. Although I should probably pull Sari now. Yeah, I should probably pull Sari. I thought you kept the screen black as a bit. No, I thought you guys could already see it. Are you pulling Silverwolf? Not on this account, but on the other one, yeah. The speedrun one. Am I sure I want to do this? E2 Faye, E2 Siren, Saridra.
My childhood musings of
Fuck it, man. Why not? Right. How did I get nothing? Am I not on like 60 something pity? I swear I'm on like 68. Yep. So now I'm at 78 pity. Nice. Oh, there it is. Ugh, just give me the Sari, bro. Just give me the Sari. Thank you. Now, I'll probably prioritize E2 Faye, and then I'll get Siren on her second rerun. Holy bricking. I mean, you could say that. It is definitely better to invest into the newer teams and characters, but I simply want a Faye on this. It's just a waste, dude. Like, I have an E0S1 Faye on this account, and I don't even use him. Like, dead ass. I never use him. It just feels like such a waste. On top of this, I'm not using my buff Sparkle either. So I'm not using my buff Sparkle. I'm not using an E0S1 Faye. This is like a total of like fucking 3 cost. Like, let me put some use to them. And 2 patches at easy. Because Phanon is probably going to rerun soon, Bronte. That's why. Phanon last reran in 3.7. He's due for a rerun once 4.2 hits or a little after that. Like, I'm obviously just gonna go for E2. Just cut your losses? No, I'm good. I thought you already had an E2 Fae? Not on this account. I have an E2 Fae on another account I barely ever touch anymore. So, it's better to just get it on my main. So the plan for now is E2 Fae, then E2 Cyrene eventually, and run it with Buff Sparkle and Ceridra now that I got her. Maybe if I do a few more single pulls, I'll get an E1 series, surely, right? E1 series, E1 series, E1 series. Oh. Wait, this is the one. This is the one. Right here. Right now. Well, it was fun. Oh, wait. This is the one. E1 series. Yeah, guess not. Mono Elation is gonna power creep everything. I hope you guys understand power creep doesn't fucking matter if you just vertically invest enough. Vertically invest enough so your DPS lasts way longer than usual, and then they'll end up getting a Nova Flare eventually, and they're really good again for like another year or two. Because of Nova Flares, I am not afraid to go into vertical investment that isn't optimal. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, this game does have power creep and HP inflation, but it is much more easy to combat it with optimal investment than most people realize. Like, I'm not some blind casual who just pulls whatever horizontal investment that they feel like without considering team synergy and value. Like, if you make even slightly optimal investments, this game is really easy. 99% of the time when I see people complaining about like endgame power creep and HP inflation, it's people who supposedly haven't pulled in like over a year or some shit. They're like, oh, I didn't even pull any of the Chrysosairs. I didn't pull at all during Amphoreus. It's like, holy fuck, who are you saving for, man? Who are they saving for? I mean, you can't force anyone to pull new characters, Pfizer is a thing. Like, yes, there's always going to be FOMO. But, once again, even if you look at some of the worst cases from the entirety of Ampho in terms of vertical investment, like my E6 Anoxa, my E6 Anoxa with, like, completely free-to-play supports still gets, like, a 2 to 3 cycle and sustained with Gallagher, right? Like, that is 0 dedicated supports, and probably the character who gets the biggest jump of all the Ampho DPSs from his dedicated support being Cyrene and Ceridra, right? So it's like, it's kind of easy, I'm not gonna lie, personally. Now, what sucks in this game, of course, is 50-50 losses. That can be annoying. I'm not gonna pretend it isn't. 50-50 losses, even the possibility of like losing on a Lycombe banner. Like, for example, when it comes to Sari and Cyrene on this account, now that I'm building this Fae, I'm not gonna pull their light cones. I don't want to run the risk of just wasting pulls on the fucking light cone banner of all things, and get a guaranteed on a light cone instead of a character. Oh yeah, by the way, also I spend money on this account. Like all my other accounts, at max I either do monthly pass or they're free to play. This is the only one I spend like actual good money on, so I'll spend $100 on Annie probably. Sparksy just isn't gonna be in an Evanescia team, man. It's just not gonna happen. There's literally no synergy outside of very small amount of buffing. Isn't punchline important? Punchline isn't the most difficult thing to generate at all in Elation teams. The only reason Silverwolf cares so much about Sparksy is because, once again, Silverwolf's ultimate scales off of, punchline. So you want to get as many ultimates off as possible. You can still buff Elation damage with literally anything. It's just that Silverwolf has a gimmick that ties her to Sparksy. Evanescia doesn't have that shit. No, you don't need Yao going S1. It's just a bait Lycone. People still think if you don't pull Lycone for your character, they're bricked. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Lycone situations in HSR a lot of the times can be pretty exaggerated. Like, at least currently with these Elation DPSs, if I remember correctly through calcs, Sparksy's Lycone is like a 20-something% increase. And Yao Guang's Lycone is barely an increase at all. It's mainly just for 0 cycles, for like faster AHA instant speed and ER gen. Like, and people are talking about how Elation is like super predatory and they hate new paths because Lycone jumps. I've already gone through this argument a million times. People have no clue what they're talking about when they say this. I'm sorry. My day's jump from alternative Lycone to his own is like fucking 40%, man. Phenon's is nearly 40% too. And they're both destruction characters. Keep in mind, destruction has like some of the best alternative Lycones in the entirety of the game. It really does not matter, man. Phenon was main push. I just said my day. Why are we just ignoring the fact I put my day in there as well?
Turn over this eternal page.
No, it's a good stop, Sodic, for the most part. It'll be enough to clear endgame for quite a while. The only reason I'm getting Cyrene on this account is because I'm trying to get her E2 for Faye. Hyacine's Lycone was the most overrated shit ever. Hyacine in general was probably the most overrated character in the history of this game. Both her Lycone and as well as her herself. She's really good for the HP scaling teams, of course. I'm not denying it. But people thinking that her very obvious and glaring base kit issues that don't synergize outside of HP scaling teams, and like people thought she'd still be like this incredibly meta sustain for future teams because of damage. It aged so badly, man. I tried saying something about it, but
Show me the way. Dispel the gloom. Restore the skies. We meet again.
burp.
Night falls. Good night. Have some sunshine.
Embrace a new life. Return to dust.
Rise and shine. Show me the way. Flowers bloom for tomorrow.
I mean, yeah. Hyacine was just like so bait. Literally, the only reason anybody should have the only genuine reason for pulling Hyacine throughout the entirety of V3 is I have an HP scaling DBS, and I'm obviously a casual. I prefer sustain, or what's it called? I need better sustainability for like AA, right? Like these are kind of the only values Hyacine has. Outside of that, it's really bad, man. It's really bad. Because she's just an SP black hole.
Watch over the Evernight.
And she doesn't give any, like, general buffing at all. It's just max HP increase for better sustain.
Restore the skies.
Embrace a new life.
Night falls.
Nice, Bronte.
Good night. Show me the way.
Imagine saying Hyacine is bait. It's like saying Dahlia is bait outside of break. Dahlia can make anybody a DBS who clears endgame content. So I don't get what it is you're trying to say here. There's literally Hunt March 7th 0 cycles using Dahlia with no other break supports. So this comparison doesn't exactly work. Cyrene is also more usable outside of certain Chrysos Air teams like with Saber than Hyacine is outside of her thing.
This is eternity.
These are both terrible comparisons.
Take the answer. Meet again.
Um, I mean, once Sunday gets a Nova, he'll probably be better. But yeah, for now, Cyrene's best in slot. But like for example, let's say you skipped Hyacine, right? If you skipped Hyacine, you still would have gotten free Don Hung PT anyways. You might have built up a Gala, and even though he can struggle with sustain these days, he can still sustain through everything but AA. And then you get a free Ho-Ho now, because that's basically confirmed by the leakers on the Annie. So you get two generalist, very strong sustains in Don Hung PT and Ho-Ho, both for free, right? Free of fucking charge, and Gala, without having to spend a dime on a sustain. While other people folded for Hyacine because, well, they fell for the, oh my god, wheelchair, right? And she's probably going to age one of the worst, if not the worst, out of all the sustains in the game, because of the fact that she literally has like no place as a genuine like general buffing sustain at all. She's so dedicated to the HP scalers. It's just really scuffed outside of that. And over time, her sub DPS damage becomes like worse and worse and worse and worse, and it just keeps continuing. Yeah, but once again, in like certain HP scaling DPS's teams, she's still pretty good. Like still. I'm not saying she isn't. She also has pretty good verticals for some of the HP teams like Cassie. I don't know, Swag. That's not something I can answer. It fully depends on the teams and DPSs and supports a person pulls. I don't even know what the average HSR player needs to clear. Average can vary a lot. Because in reality, the average HSR player is like way worse than you guys think. Is your audience mostly women? No, not at all. If I remember correctly, I think like 15% of my audience is women, and 85% are men. I remember seeing the graph on my thing. Yep. The real thing Hyacine has over other sustains is she doesn't have sustain issues. That has nothing to do. That's not really a value though. Like I get what you're saying, but like for example, buffed Woho is likely not gonna have any sustain issues either. So it's like that's just a natural thing from being a newer sustain more than anything else. It's a value in an HP draining team comp. Yeah, but generally it isn't. Is my point. Newer sustain equal better sustain. It's really just that simple, man. Newer sustain equal better sustain. Like there will probably come a sustain who could even heal more than Hyacine in the future for HP scalers indirectly just because they're newer.
Turn over this eternal page.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Woho compete with Hyacine and Mono Rem. That's a little cope. It depends on how much they buff her ER gen capabilities. Because, for example, like Evernight Hyper Carry, I can maybe see it. Because Evernight really likes getting her ultimate for extra EV turns. But if they like don't change the ER gen that much, then I don't know, not really.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Vertical investment Mono Rem aging will take a long time. Mono Rem isn't as invincible as a lot of people think. I talk about this all the time, but when it comes to Mono Rem, it isn't this perfect team that a lot of people say it is. And it's not that the synergy isn't there. It's that the damage isn't like something infallible, right? Like, for example, current anomaly arbitration, believe it or not, right? Believe it or not, Evernight Hypercarry is better than Faye. But now that Faye got buff Sparkle at higher levels of investment against like Plight AA, Faye has a better clear at 12 cost Plight than Cassie Mono Rem. Cassie Mono Rem needs to rely on Battle Pass light cones, and if they don't have those, then they need a few more cost. Meaning, even at this like 12 or 13 cost range, Mono Rem is losing to Faye now. Keep in mind, Sparks Econ has quantum weakness. She doesn't have physical weakness. And Faye cannot take advantage of teammates attacking outside of Sparks Econ's thingy to give him more res pen. Like, he can't do that. So, it's kind of funny, but the buff Faye received from buff Sparkle is quite significant.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
I mean, what other boss, man? There's only one plight in King boss on AA right now. It's Sparks Econ. Ugh. Cassie needs more Nova Flare, not Phanon confirmed. Cassie is just in a similar situation. Well, actually, I wouldn't say it's similar, but like, they accidentally power crept Cassie with Evernight, and it just is what it is. What's similar to Firefly is that a mono Rem team does not at all need Cassie to succeed against Endgame, the same way Dahlia doesn't need Firefly to be able to clear well with other characters against Endgame. That's what's similar between the two. Cassie doesn't have anywhere near the same amount of base kit issues as like what Firefly does, though. I personally think Firefly is a fucking mess of a kit. I don't think it was accidental. It was definitely accidental, bro. If you were keeping up with beta leaks, it was definitely accidental. For example, Ceridra. They didn't want to make Ceridra synergize with Anoxa at all originally in the beta. And they wanted to give a specific buff towards only Phanon for departed teammates. and this obviously wouldn't apply to Anoxa. So Saridra was not at all made with Anoxa in mind originally. They were just making her really for Faye best in slot. And then it's after this where they probably realized and took the pivot into making Anoxa more so of a main DPS instead of a sub DPS. And you can also see it in Anoxa's Eidolons, right? Evernight E2 is astronomically high. It's like a Phanon level jump. Anoxa's E2 is fucking dog shit. The guy's verticals are like all the way in the fucking ground. So you can make the argument maybe that they wanted Evernight to be both main DPS and sub DPS. I'd still disagree that they wanted her to power creep her. But Anoxa was definitely not planned as a main DPS originally, in my opinion.
Reach out to me for Parallax Coordinator.
She wasn't made with Phanon in mind either, considering her trash buffs. I have to say this basically every stream at this point. You guys do not understand just how strong Phanon is. You guys truly do not comprehend it. Like, I don't disagree that Saridra could be very easily power crept from his team, but Phanon is the easiest DPS maybe in the entirety of this game to buff with just giving stronger amp. So because of this, like for example, we're seeing it right now, once again, right? Current Plight Sparksicon, with the new introduction of buff Sparkle, Phanon is competing, if not beating some mono rem teams, like Cassie's, against Sparksicon. Like, all it took was one buff Sparkle, and this guy is all of a sudden back to being competitive with fucking mono rem whale levels of verticals. And he's already significantly better at clearing lower cost as compared to Cassie against like MOC and shit, right?
Reach out to me for Parallax Coordinator.
The only reason, I don't know, it is a little weird to count this, but like E2 Cyrene especially, I don't think ever goes out of a Phanon team generally. She could just get power crept so fucking hard to the point where like sustain Faye with like Nova, Sunday, and Sparkle is better, but the value E2 Cyrene gives is just so tremendous at this point. At least at that level of investment, right? You know what? If we're talking about E0 Cyrene, yeah, you know, I'll give it to you. Good point. I'm thinking too much about E2s here, but at higher verticals, I do think Cyrene just doesn't go anywhere, because the infinite ultimate, buffing Saridra, so you get one stack of coup de main faster every single time you use a double skill. Saridra now gives more of a buff as well. You get more true damage. You no longer need Chrysos Heirs, so you can run like buff Sparkle or buff Sunday there and still get him an infinite ult. E2 Cyrene, I hate it. It's so stupid, man. Like, this guy got shafted the most from base Cyrene, and they basically sold all of her synergy with Phanon behind her E2. It's so annoying, man. But at the same time, I guess it's a worth it jump.
Reach out to me for Parallax Coordinator.
You think they flunk Saridra so Phanon doesn't outshine Castris? Yes. That's exactly what I think. Because, for example, let's say you make Saridra, like, let's say you make Ceredra Evernight level. Actually, no, it's more comparable. What Ceredra should be for Phanon is a Hyacine, like what Hyacine is for Cassie, right? If you do this, Phanon is the strongest DPS by a mile. Like, it's not even close. If you make like a Hyacine equivalent for fucking Faye. Especially with like her tailored vertical investment as well. Yeah. Like, currently, the reason why Buff Sparkle is so strong in Fae teams is mainly the vulnerability. Like, if Phanon gets res pen from his E2, he gets some res pen from the double skills from Ceredra. So res pen is there, and it is still incredibly valuable, but there's literally no vulnerability on his team. So buffers who give a good amount of vulnerability and then really strong amp elsewhere as well, like Buff Sparkle, just end up being incredibly valuable for him. Does E2 Cyrene go out is the question? I don't think so, man. I really don't. It would take a lot to get rid of an E2 Cyrene from a Phanon team at like higher investment. I don't know. I used to never like look at Cyrene verticals because like once again, guys, you know, pre-buff Sparkle, there was literally no real reason to get E2 Cyrene for Faye outside of like quick zero cycles because there was no other like, oh my god, this general amper is way fucking stronger than RMC, right? That didn't exist. They could be slightly better, but it wouldn't justify getting E2 Cyrene. Buff Sparkle fucking flipped this completely on its head, and it's a completely different story now. And unlimited ult for Phanon is like, it's so good, right? Like, Phanon is genuinely the only DPS in the game who can run sustainless technically infinitely, right? So long as he isn't getting fucking nuked by like 10k health hits from like a Lygus nuke or something. He is the only one who can do that. Thoughts on E2 Sparkle? It's pretty worth it now, especially since a lot of people got her for free from the selector. But I'd really only recommend getting E2 Sparkle if that 30% defense shred jump, like you already have a good amount of defense shred stacked. In my opinion, that's like the best time you could possibly use it. Because, for example, let me check the defense shred chart real quick so you guys can understand like how insane the jump is near the end. Okay, so let's say you're at 70% defense shred, right? From 0 to 70% defense shred, your overall damage increase is 60%, right? And then if you add 30 to go to 100, this turns into 115%, right? Like that last 30% defense shred almost doubles the value of increasing your damage. Some shady leaks were saying Evanescia got seal level animations. I'm pretty sure another leaker responded saying that it wasn't literally seal level and was a bit of an over exaggeration, but it is still like significantly worse than Silver Wolf's. So my guess is it's probably going to be an Anoxa situation. Anoxa's animations are really repetitive, and I mean, there isn't much going on at all, right? And then the only cool thing is his ult. Kind of like in Ashvale. It's the same thing with Ashvale too. Like Ashvale spams follow-ups and has his skill, but the only cool looking thing is his ult animation. Yeah, exactly. They say the same thing about Faye animations. Faye animations is a completely different story because Faye is a main push, right? Like this is why it's completely different. Evanescia is no longer a main push. The main push is now Silverwolf. And even if you don't want to believe these more unreliable leakers, Anon actually agrees with them. Anon already made a leak a few weeks back before he quit, saying that Evanescia's animations were getting reworked to be worse, so that they could give Silverwolf more of a spotlight since she got changed to the main push. So, if you don't want to believe the unreliable leakers, you can believe Anon's leak, in which he basically just agrees with them. This doesn't mean her animations will be fucking garbage tier, but they won't be like exceptional, right? They won't be outstanding probably. They'll just be good or normal for our standards. That's so insane to make a character actively look worse. I mean, it just goes to show you this game's like dumbass main push treatment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that they are incapable of making incredibly cool animations for the characters. It's just that they drip feed you improvements over time, to like constantly catch you off guard with like the main push character. And oh my god, how could the animations get better than even this older character? Like, I think the most obvious way you can tell this is by enemy fights, right? Like, you guys can see it with, for example, the weekly boss Iron Tomb. Like, dude, those animations are arguably above fucking anything else that we've seen among our characters so far. They always make the bosses and their attacks like incredibly highly animated, and then it takes a while for the characters to catch up to that. Like they have no issues making good animations. Once again, they just want to drip feed it. Wouldn't having two characters with amazing animations generate more money? No. Temporarily, yeah, but over time, it becomes nothing special anymore. And that's what they want. They want you to see the most crazy animations the game has to offer, the most crazy animations that you've seen yet, and they want it to be special. It's not special if you make every single character have the most insane of animations possible. Yeah. Once again, this all ties back to FOMO, right? Let's say even if you don't like Silverwolf, there would be a ton of people after her animations get leaked who would just decide to pull her anyways because her animations are probably going to be absolutely fucking disgusting. This is literally the exact same thing that happened with Faye, Cyrene, and as well as Cassie, right? People thought they wouldn't want to pull the character. They doom post them, say I don't care, see the animations. Oh my god. Oh my god, what the fuck? This shit is crazy cool. I'm gonna pull for them. That's exactly how it works. People don't act that way if they know, oh, who cares? You know, the next character is also gonna have this animation quality. I don't give a fuck. I'll just skip anyways. Yeah. It's the same logic, right? With like power scaling characters in HSR. There's a reason why they make certain characters significantly stronger than other characters they don't deem as important in a patch. And you could say, oh, but what if they made everybody the same strength? Then everybody would be good. Everybody would want to pull them. But that would once again ruin the type of FOMO they want to induce on their fucking player base. So they refuse to do that, and they decide to only make a few specific characters from a version a lot stronger than the rest with like better shilling. And it's not like only Hoyo does this though. Like a lot of gacha games do this. Like even Wuwa. Ameth and Cartethia animations are vastly above a lot of other characters in Wuwa. Even like the currently releasing ones, like fucking Luke and Sagrika, right? Like Ameth and Cart are still a lot better than those characters. And it's because they were meant to be that way, you know? Induce the FOMO, show them how fucking cool these characters are. Oh my god, she's splitting the sky, she's splitting reality itself, right? Shit like that. I don't know. Hoyo just really seems to like dragons. Listen, I'm not gonna complain. I absolutely love dragons. This was the entire reason. By the way, this account, the reason I decided to dedicate it towards Cassie was literally her dragon. Fun fact. It wasn't really Cassie herself. It was her dragon. That, from the original Ampho drip, that decided to make me an account to save for her. So, I'm not gonna complain, but I don't know. We'll never make a Phanon level character. Um, to be honest, in my opinion, their only shot is probably Geshu Lin. I feel like Geshu Lin has been getting hyped up throughout like trailers and shit for like so fucking long at this point. So, if he ever releases in the future, hopefully, they end up giving him like the Phanon treatment. But if even Geshu Lin can't get it, yeah, probably not. Isn't there Phanon Scar? Not even close. Yeah, that's kind of a good way to put it. Scar is more comparable to Child in Genshin, but even less popular than Child by a pretty large amount. Yeah, Kyuan should have been a main DPS. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. They made the doctor guy that most people don't give a shit about. They made him the main DPS for the new version. And then they made Kyuan the aura farming swordsman. A support who barely does any fucking damage. Like, where's the thought process, man? Luke slander? I mean, it's like, I remember seeing a chart of CN sales for Luke. It was literally at the bottom by a mile. And QU1 was actually like one of the highest near Gion's level. Keep in mind, that's impressive. Like, Gion was the first ever character to ever release in the game. So he got like that payola, right? He kind of got shilled for that. If it weren't for that, QU1 would probably be CN's #1 male. So it's like, why didn't you make QU1 a main DPS? Like, what are we doing, man? We kind of failed to capitalize on literally probably your coolest male character in the entirety of the fucking game. And instead we've decided to make some doctor from Lahai Roy the DPS. And he sold terribly because of that. Like, what?
Thank you so much for your help this time. Please continue.
Luke was up against Ameth. He never stood a chance. Well, yeah, you can say that, but it's like, at the same time, QU1 was right before the most hyped resonator from the entirety of Wuwa of 2.x. Like, well, at least the second half side of Chisa. And then also, Lahai Roy's like right after this, with Lene and Mornai at the exact same time. So you put QU1's banner right before Chisa and Lahai Roy, and somehow he still gets way better sales than Luke. That doesn't even really make sense.
Thank you so much for your help this time. If you want to keep going,
I don't remember.
Reach out to me for prolonged.
Yeah, I don't like the scalpel weapon either. When I heard Scythe from the leaks, I got so hyped up just to find out that the Scythe is like barely a part in his animations, which was just so sad, man.
thank you so much for your help this time. If you want to keep going,
I mean, I still really like Chisa. It's just that I've never seen. Actually, no, I have seen a character with probably worse value. It's like Yinlin. But Chisa value is genuinely just garbage. I don't care what anybody says. It's so fucking bad. People call her the quote unquote negative status shorekeeper. But then the funniest part about this is she's like niche for negative status, right? Keep that in mind. Shorekeeper is fully general, works with like every DPS in the game, and somehow Shorekeeper ties, if not beats, Chisa for some of these negative status DPSs. And Ameth didn't exactly help that so far. It's the literally exact same thing. So I'm not gonna lie, I just can't take it seriously, bro. On top of this, Chisa only has one vigor for what's it called? Double Pawn's Matrix. Like she's one of the few healers in the entirety of the game who only has one vigor instead of two in DPM. So her value and pulling her for that is also incredibly low because for some reason they scuffed her that way. Like I don't know, man. It's so fucking weird. Yeah. I still absolutely love Chisa herself, though. Don't get it twisted. It's just like on my Wuwa accounts, I couldn't really justify it. It would. It's not that I wouldn't be able to clear if I pulled Chisa, but I have other goals. You know, like you have upcoming Cyberpunk collab with Rebecca. You have Hiyuki on the anniversary now. Who we actually got a bit of a glimpse at. Shit like that. Like I want to get stuff like that out of the way before I go for a sustain that does no damage and barely does anything. Do you think E2 Cyrene will ever be worth it for E6 Faye? I'm debating. Her buffs are good, but my Phanon can already double ultimate.
Let's have a break.
Well, yes, for one, E2 Cyrene is just best in slot for E6 Faye no matter what. Because once again, Infinite Ultimate is literally just future proofing. That's really all I'm going to say for now. Infinite Ultimate, your Phanon would be able to clear endgame content sustainless for literally forever. Double Ultimate, if you can't kill in 2 ultimates, obviously, you just die. Right? So, for example, maybe this doesn't apply to your E6, but E2 phase without E2 Cyrene and without, like, E6 supports against, like, let's say, play AA, a double ultimate would just lead to dying. It's not enough, right? So, because of this, I understand. I've talked about this before, how it annoyed me that Cyrene really diminishes the value of Phanon's E6 and it, like, allowing you to stack more. But E2 Cyrene is still definitive best in slot anyways, by a pretty good margin. Because you get more true damage buffing. You allow yourself to run like a buff Sparkle and still get ultimate incredibly easily. And then at the exact same time, you also buff Saridra, so you get double skills more often as well, right? There's a lot of shit that goes on with E2 Cyrene.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Sigrika's low-key better than Cart now. Yeah, only for one patch though. I don't really care. Ameth will probably get stronger when she gets Dania. Hiyuki will probably be stronger when she gets her sub DPS. So, it's whatever.
Reach out to me for Perlux Corporate.
Why are people skipping her? Because Wuwa isn't as easy to brute force endgame with without specific teams. I'm not saying Wua's endgame is harder than HSR's, but if you have an unfavorable matchup with like an enemy who has res to your DPS in Wua, it is significantly more devastating as compared to HSR characters in teams that really just brute force even sometimes like fucking 60% resistance, right? So in Wua, getting specific teams and getting specific teams for different elements actually matters a lot, as unfortunate as it is. So like when you're deciding, do I want to get a DPS for a new element, right? Let's say you don't have a Spectro DPS and you're deciding to get Luke and run him like free to play with Sanhua and I don't know, whatever third slot, right? That Luke investment would be astronomically better because now you can cover Spectro as compared to getting Chisa. Like, Chisa does no damage. She's barely of any benefit to buffing even some of the negative status DPSs all that much. She needs her weapon in most cases, right? Chisa plus weapon to even beat Ira Rover in a Cartethia team for the average player. And, I mean, she's just there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say you need 4 good teams in WUWA. You need 3. You for the average player, they need 3 good teams. You need one for tackling the last floor of both side towers, and then you need 2 for tackling middle tower and TOA. And then I believe the rest of like the lower side tower floors you can definitely clear without like premium units and shit, right? So I'd say it's more safe to say 3. If you care about double pawns matrix, this changes a lot. Okay, it increases drastically if you care about double pawns matrix. But similar to the way I feel about AA and HSR, I don't give a fuck about double pawns matrix and WUWA. So it just depends on the person.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Why'd they screw over Chisa like that, though? Because they're probably going to sell more third slots for negative statuses in the future. I don't know. You can kind of see this in Buling. Buling is like a alternative third slot healer for Electro Flare. But there's no Electro Flare DPS. But in the future, it's like fully possible that Muling is like near best in slot temporarily for some Electro Flare DPS, and then they sell a more premium option. Some shit like that. I saw Amet triple fusion team get faster clears than her actual tune break team. I mean, I can check right now on Wua Flex. I don't know what the TOA buffs are, but that's probably the only reason why. TOA buffs are probably so annoying that putting Ameth in there actually makes her basically a buffer. Let's see. Yeah, this one. So the number 1 clears are... Oh wait, no, let me go to 2-4. Yeah, these are the harder TOA floors. No, Ameth Hyper Carry is definitely way stronger than Ameth Mono Fusion. If you're talking about side towers or lower middle towers, it's because the HP is low enough to where they can front load the damage with an unrepeatable rotation. So that's why Mono Fusion can outperform at times. But if you go to floor 2-4, where it is, you know, you need to do consistent rotations because there's way more HP, Ameth's Hyper Carry is like way ahead. Like currently Ameth Hyper Carry is at full S0R1, 65-second clear, and the closest Mono Fusion... Wait, it doesn't... Well, I guess replacing Mornai with Lupa takes it to 80 seconds. Which is like, I don't know, like a 20% increase in time. So no, Mono Fusion isn't at all comparable. Yeah, Tactician, but those are usually nitpicked, once again, against like the weaker side tower bosses or the lower floor middle tower ones, because their HP is low enough to where you can do like one rotation with quick swap and then kill them. It's not even a loopable rotation. It's just how you try to get as much damage out as fast as possible, which like some of the Mono Fusion characters really help with because they have lower cooldowns. But against higher HP inflated shit, Ameth is definitely significantly stronger in hyper carry. Is there a good example I can make of this? Oh, yeah. So, the best example I can give is Anaxa when he first released, right? Everybody thought Anoxa was the strongest DPS in the entirety of the game when he first released, but in reality, it's just that he was so good at getting his damage out, and his damage distribution was like so good he didn't waste any of his damage, and that's why he got lower cost clears than like other teams that are technically significantly stronger than him, right? And then when the HP got inflated enough, Anox's weaknesses started really showing, and he was falling off a lot quicker as compared to normal, and other teams that before were clearing worse than him are now clearing way better. It's kind of similar to that. I see sustainless zero cycle in a similar light, though not really realistic or sustainable. No, yeah, I agree, but at the same time, most zero cycle clears for DPSs are their strongest teams, which is the difference. Like, if you're trying to aim for the most damage possible in a zero cycle, almost 99% of the time in this game, you're going to be using your best in slot team over anything else. Unless you're getting wheelchaired or something. But yes, I won't deny learning Wua quick swap does help. You know what I'm saying? Learning Wua quick swap does help for you to make certain teams work that usually wouldn't work that well. But is it worth it? No. Quick swap in Wua is vastly overrated. At max, like the best case of quick swap helping a character's damage is Zanny. And she's really like an exception in my opinion. Right? And even then, if you like fully master Zanny quick swap, at most, the increase in like performance you're getting is like 30% maybe. Right? And that's the exception of this game. Most of the time, it's more like 15% increase, 10 to 15% increase. It's not really worth busting your balls over, in my opinion. Well, yeah, Phaedon's the only character in the game who can technically infinitely run sustainless. Unless he goes against enemies with fucking what's it called? Broken ass damage. 30% is good though. Yes, I'm not saying it isn't, but that's only Zanny. That's what I'm trying to say. It's only Zanny who gets that jump. Everybody else is 10 to 15%, in which it's not really worth it. Zanny is the only one where I'd say like learning quick swap actually matters and is nice. I mean, me personally, the reason I've never liked quick swap is because like in my mind, if you're not playing a multiplayer game, why even go through all this trouble actually improving like your gameplay mechanics? I don't know. Like for example, if you guys have seen like my Fortnite streams, you can tell I'm like really good mechanically at Fortnite, but I obviously can't do all this quick swap shit on Wua. I don't really get like I don't think it's worth it in my head, right? Like you're fighting against bots and artificial difficulty. What's even the fucking point? In multiplayer, you're kind of rewarded with just constantly improving against other people and being better than them. Personal fulfillment. I mean, I understand that. I understand that. I feel like people think quick swap is way harder than it is in WUA though. A lot of people talk about WUA quick swap like it's fucking learning to go pro in Fortnite or something, or learning to go pro in some fucking esport, and they try to like flex it over casual players. Like, I'd say it obviously depends on how fast you adapt and how long you've been playing like games. But if any gacha player spent like 1 or 2 days practicing a quick swap rotation and like genuinely dedicating themselves towards it, they'd be able to learn it already. 1 or 2 days, you'd be able to learn a quick swap rotation and use it against all endgame content. The reason why the majority of gacha players struggle with like quick swap, and the reason they think it's like the craziest thing ever, is because they're lazy, and that includes me. I'm not trying to shame people, but like the vast majority of a gacha games audience are just lazy people who don't want to put in any fucking effort. So that's why a lot of people think quick swap is more impressive than it actually is. The same thing, in my opinion, applies to like a lot of HSR clears, by the way. Like a lot of these HSR CCs that are some of the most popular, you know, for doing like cool clears and shit. Like they originally test this shit in like private servers with a shit ton of retries over and over and over again until they get it right. Know what I'm saying? It's not like they're fucking naturally gifted. They think of something, instantly put it in, and they do it. It doesn't really work like that.
Thank you so much for your help this time. Please continue to support.
I mean, global passes are just whatever in this game, man. Every time I think about the global passive drama, it's always so funny. Like, holy shit, man. Wow. Wait, that's a thing, Yumi? I didn't even know that. I don't know if that's even a thing. No, I agree. Knowledge plays a pretty big part in HSR. I'm not disagreeing. In HSR, knowledge and being able to like understand synergies and kits to like, you know, come up with the ideas that you're trying to execute, it does require knowledge for sure. But once again, the reason HOS is as knowledgeable as they are is because they fucking spam private servers for like the last 1 or 2 years, and so their experience is vastly above anybody else. Imagine having a private server where you can spawn in any character with any vertical investment, with any relic investment that you want, any enemy lineup that you want, and you can always test every single rotation possible hundreds of times without anything interfering. Like, it's just like an insane advantage. Obviously, I'm not saying he isn't smart, though. He's way fucking better at the game than me, for sure. But it's not like other people wouldn't be able to do the same if they decided to do so. It's just that, once again, gachas are mainly filled with a majority casual player base, so we are more easily impressed by like any type of effort at all into any type of HSR run.
Get upset whenever I want to keep going. Thank you so much for your help this time. Please continue to
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can just tell by the amount of people who thought Sparkle best in slot for Silverwolf because generate SP, and that's like the most popular take across all social media, everything. Like, you can tell just from that alone just how casual this game's player base is and how little they actually know or read kits. Like, nobody who actually reads kits would ever think something like that.
Thank you so much for your help this time. Please continue.
Mm. People thought Saridra is going to be meta for Elation? Yeah, that was just dumb. Oh, Saridra's in this Elation event, in which a ton of other older characters are also in the Elation event, but she will be the one who specifically gets shielded towards the new version. Like, definitely, man. Definitely.
Thank you so much for your help this time. Please continue.
The Saridra cope was insane. I mean, they were coping for a good reason, though. Like, Saridra has better value now because of Cyrene. But pre-Cyrene, oh my goodness. Pre-Cyrene Saridra value was just fucking horrendous. It was genuinely like it was arguably the worst of any best in slot support in this game in like the history of it. It was really bad. Hello, Verly.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Like, I remember seeing calcs from Anoxa pre-Cyrene with Saridra and how good Saridra was for him. No joke. I saw an 8% increase over Robin. 8 for Anoxa pre-Cyrene. Like, it was really bad, man. Keep in mind, Robin's getting added to the shop now as well. So, a lot of people can just get E1 Robin for free now.
Thank you so much for your help this time. Please
Pre-Cyrene, my Saridra Anoxa was clearing slower than E1 Tribia Anoxa. Yeah. Against AoE, if I remember correctly, Tribi was better than Sari. Oh my god, what a burp. If I vertically invest in 2 teams, will the chances of getting bored be high? I mean, that depends, bro. If you play the game for the game, and you're really dedicated towards the character you're vertically investing on, I mean, you probably won't get bored. But if you don't care that much about the character you're vertically investing in, yeah, you'll probably get bored. I've never really had this issue. Even before I played on multiple accounts, it isn't that difficult for me to like vertically invest on some accounts or like save for a few patches and do it.
Get upset whenever I eat one and keep going. Thank you so much for your help this time.
Thoughts on the battleships? What do you mean ships? It's only one. Oh, really, Verly? That's nice. I mean, yeah, Ashvale is definitely an upgrade for Faye. The thing is, Faye is just so weak, most people wouldn't pull Ashvale for that alone, which is why so many people complain. I think he's fine, though.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
League said Evanessia is getting after sales service. You guys should really keep your expectations in line when you hear things like this. Because technically speaking, all of the Amphorius characters got after sales service with Cyrene. Like, that is literally all it would mean. That alone could contribute to after sales service. So don't fully rely on something like that.
Recap to me for Perlux Corp.
So for example, if there is an Elation sustain plan down the line, then that would be considered after sales service for Evanessia and Silverwolf.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Is Dahlia one? It's hard to call Dahlia after service because of how fucking long it took them to release her, so no. After service would be more like Fugue and Lingsha, despite how fucking shit they were for Firefly. But it still counts. Like, you get a new support for your team that you can decide to like vertically invest in if you want to.
Get upset whenever I eat one and keep going. Thank you so much for your help this time.
I mean, my question, what I'm wondering is who's going to replace Robin in this new follow-up team? That's just all I want to know. Because with the new Harmony strength that Buff Sparkle has kind of introduced, if they make like a Robin Pro Max, that would be pretty fucking strong. We have Robin SP? Yes, but Robin SP is unlikely to be literally the same thing. We haven't had a single SP of the character where they literally do the same thing. Unless it's like a 4-star version with, I guess, the Herda. And that's it. Oh yeah, also that. Apparently Ashvale's team is supposed to be all males. Which, if true, there would not be a Robin SP in there. It would be Ashvale, Blade, and Avon, and then someone else. Well, actually, it wasn't that it was all males. It's that all the new males are on the same team. But my guess is none of them are sustained. The only one that could be sustained, in my opinion, is probably like Blade. So we'll see how that goes. But Pearl's a sustain, and there should be an Elation sustain down the line, which hits like the 2 sustain per version quota, which makes me. I don't think Blade is going to be a sustain. Blade is Asheville DPS. My guess is Avon's the DPS. I don't see them making Blade DPS and then Blade DPS again. Once again, they like switching things up when it comes to SPs. Making Blade the DPS again, even though personally I'd prefer that, probably does not fit with them. I'll be right back in a few minutes.
Let's have a break.
It's squishy.
Let's have a break.
It's squishy.
Let's have a break.
It's squishy.
Uh, Gay Maru? Nah. Definitely not. Himiko SB is gonna be crazy. Yeah, I can't wait to see what she does. It's 2 more days for beta, I think. Too bold for that? It's the opposite. I need to get a haircut today. My hair is growing too fast. It's like all over the fucking place. I have like the nastiest bed head right now.
Reach out to me for Perlex Corp internal.
Rich! I'll buy out all the ice creams in the convenience store.
Can you just be slightly more ambitious, please?
Looking good today, thanks, man.
Shut up, seven if you want to keep going. Thank you so much for your help this time.
I'm gonna be investing in Elation and Mono Men. Yeah, that's what my new account is probably gonna do because it's getting Ashvale. Silver Wolf team and then the Ashvale team as well.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Hopefully they make Avon, SP, and Blade really cool. Blade SP looks good. I mean, yeah, but I mainly mean like animations and shit. Yeah, Avon has a pretty good VA.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
I feel like there won't ever be like an HSR character to top My Day for me though. I don't know. Maybe if they add Gilga, depending on how he translates in the game, but I don't think so. Sad. Nothing can ever reach the peak. What does Nihilux even do? She doesn't pay her employees, and she procrastinates everything. Oh, really, Verly? That's pretty cool. Lancer would sell triple cardboard in this game. I don't think it's even worth making him a character. At least given the model he had last time in like the Grail story.
Reach out to me for Perlux support.
Thank you so much for your help this time.
Yeah. Like, I could see him being playable, but it would be like a 4-star, and this game doesn't release 4 stars.
Just how many have we trained here? Look at me!
Excuse me. Can I have the...
Mhm.
The sovereign shall walk ahead, and their people shall follow them. The sovereign shall walk ahead, and their people shall follow them. This is not the end, merely the the cornerstone of a grand endeavor.
Yeah, Rin would be cool as well. Um, I guess not. I'll farm this some other time. DDD. Give me a DDD. Oh, I guess not. Alright, chat. I'm gonna end the stream here. Short stream. Thank you all for stopping by. Hope you have a great day. Hope you all have a great night.